So thank you so much for joining. I know that this is we've got pretty much every continent. Oh, hello. Someone just phoned me. No. Sorry. Live. So we've got a truly global session. All of you, proper leaders in the verticals, and we're talking about the theme being it was 20 years ago today, but the question today is what matters now and what matters into the future. So lots of things to say. As we say, this is about looking over garden fences and stuff. So let's get some quick intros. Let's tell us about yourself. Who are you? Where have you come in from? What do you do? And what have you? So let's start with you, Amanda.
Amanda Staveley, coming all the way from the UK. Love Singapore, so it's always one of the best Grand Prix in the world. So really excited to be here this week. I run a private equity business with my husband. We invest primarily in sports and media, but we've invested pretty much across the globe for the last 25 years. We started in 2005 with buying and advising Sheikh Mansour and buying Man City Football Club, which...
That's a bit of a name drop, right?
Yeah. And then we recapitalized Barclays Bank in 2008 in the global financial crisis. And when we built the company from there, most latterly we sold our stake, sadly, in Newcastle United. And we're looking at investing. We've got a big sports and media fund that's investing into all sorts of things. And that's about it.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to all the way from
Thank you, Jasper.
UK. Welcome to Singapore. Up next, Akshat, Rathee. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know who you are, but tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
My name is Akshat. I am a serial entrepreneur. I run something called NODWIN Gaming. We are a youth media company across the world, 22 countries, predominantly in the global south. We own things like Comic-Con outside the US. We own music festivals. We do little investments in crazy chaps like Jasper. And we also run one of the largest esports gaming companies in the world.
Very good. Well, welcome back to Singapore. Gita, who are you?
There's this saying, a jack of all trades and a master of none. So that's me. I'm a marketeer. I've worked in luxury, selling castle whiskies to ultra-high net worth individuals, predominantly in China. I've worked in the metaverse, building a luxury watch club for crypto millionaires. And I also worked in health and wellness. But all of these things are connected, is that my passion lies into really finding this deeper emotional connection with the consumer in order to grow brands. Currently, I'm working at Heineken. I'm responsible for moderation. As we know, consumers are socializing differently. Consumers are drinking differently. So we really need to future-proof our business by addressing those unmet needs. And I work on a portfolio of brands. In my spare time, I'm the chair of the Marketing Society here in Singapore. The Marketing Society is a global organization. And what we're doing is we're really connecting marketers across the world, but also especially here in Singapore, to make them thrive. Marketing is not an easy profession, and we really try to help them, support them, and make them connect with each other to share their problems.
And you won't mind me saying this, but you do have the greatest surname on the planet for what you do for a living. Ladies and gentlemen, Gita De Beer working for Heineken. I mean, that's pretty cool.
It was meant to be.
It's like being a donut, really. Okay, so Rebecca, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are the newest face at the event, I think.
I know. Well, thanks for having me. I was proud to help make that female ratio a little better this year. I'm Rebecca Barkin. I'm co-founder and CEO of Lamina One, alongside my co-founder, you might know him, renowned sci-fi author Neil Stephenson. Anybody? Yeah? Snow Crash fans? Really prolific writer, wrote about the sort of intersection of technology and media for a long time. I started my career in the music business, actually, before going really deep into emerging tech. Headed up the studios at the augmented reality company Magic Leap. You might know this. We raised $4.5 billion pre-revenue. It was kind of a record at the time. In MSG Sphere, I led their content and technical partnerships. So a deep background in immersive. I serve on the TV Academy's Emerging Media Group and the Venice Film Festival's Finance and Production Bridge. I'll say quickly just about Lamina, a lot is changing fast. And our vision is really to provide an interactive media platform based on blockchain, so decentralized, that's actually owned by the storytellers and the fans that make the internet an interesting place to be.
Fantastic. So we've got sport, we've got gaming, we've got marketing. We're going to kind of put Web3 over your head, but I know you do a lot more than that. So to Calvin and music. So there might be one person or two people in here who don't know who you are. But Calvin, please introduce yourself.
My name is Calvin. I'm the CEO for Universal Music in Southeast Asia and Korea. I started this business since the 80s. 38 years in the business, as they say. Started from the bottom, now I'm here.
And you were an OG. You were at the first.
I was there with you.
Very good. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. So we kind of understand who you are now, but let's talk about the industries that you're representing, and so we can understand really from the highest level what's happening in sport at the moment around the world.
Well, I think sports. The one thing about sport that is consistent is that we see it as fabulous content, and it goes across all of our verticals here today, represented today. And we see that with investing in. When we invested in Newcastle United, we saw it very much as making sure that we provide the best content, the best excitement, whether it's the best football, the best production capabilities, the best fan engagement. And I think that because our audience, our demographic is getting younger and younger, and we have to be very aware of that. We need to make sure that we become really leading edge on the way we deliver our sport and our content. We need to make sure that we deliver exciting, sport. And I love what you're doing now in gaming because, there's much more competition between leagues. I think that's an example that the Premier League can take. The Premier League is fantastic. I'm sure many of you are Premier League fans. It's so widely used, but we can't be complacent just because we've invested in Premier League teams. We are fortunate that our revenues are underpinned by huge broadcasting agreements, but those will change. So we think it's very important to look to our neighbours and see how we can combine the best content production. So we're looking at working with, influencers, and one of my colleagues is here working with Sidemen and other influencers to understand if we can deliver that content better. Apart from that, I think we're raising a dedicated sports and media fund that invests into some key assets like we did with Newcastle United, and that's exciting time.
It really is.
Sorry, Jasper.
Going to kick each other.
Sorry.
Newcastle versus Arsenal there. That was an absolute.
You should have had Alexander Isak.
There are two Arsenal fans on stage. just to say. But it is about streaming now, right? It used to be tuning into your host broadcast and stuff, but it's changed a lot.
I think the big change for all of us is going to be the development of the direct-to-consumer model and how that underpins the revenues for the future. And I think you have to do that with the right, media, the right content producers. And also, it's going to take a lot of investment. That's going to take, to do it at the Premier League, it's going to take probably £6-7 billion just to get that model embedded. And that's quite important.
There's also very exciting opportunities to invest in conferences. Anyway, so moving swiftly on to someone who did invest in conferences. Akshat, what's going on in the gaming industry?
We are all affected by the same things that everyone else is, AI, content. But I'll just leave you with 3 interesting points we are seeing across the world. For the first time ever, there are more young gamers on planet Earth than there are older gamers in planet Earth. And this is the age of 25, which is there. And it's dropping by about 7 months every year. So in 10 years' time, you will actually halve that number. Right? So that's the speed of adoption that's happening. Second, and this is more stark, and there's no judgment here at all, but we are seeing power in gaming shift from China to Saudi Arabia. That's the investments that are happening, and they're happening in sports, they're happening in content, they're happening in music, they're happening in gaming across the world. So there's a seismic shift that is happening, and everything that goes along with that. And the third really interesting thing that's happening in gaming and this is we are seeing the start of the redundancy of this. Everyone thinks that it's PC, they are the OGs, they're going away, and this is the place where mobile is all consumption. No, if you start investing in content and you're just doing a 5-year forward projection, you're too late. It's all going to be on this. Right? It's already happening. We started seeing it. Every one of the big 5 are going to be investing specifically on content here. Now, how?
So you mean
on the
you
glasses.
actually mean in your glasses? Sorry,
Yeah, on your glasses. And I'm not carrying it right now, but Meta just released one. Google's going to go release another one. Amazon's about 4 months away from going and doing this. Now, here's the bonus part. We're also seeing that with the juxtaposition of all the big ad engines / the big FANG of the world having an Ouroboros moment where the internet is actually eating itself to go ahead and make the new internet. And these seismic shifts normally don't happen more than 2 per 5-year period. We are looking at 5 of them to create a perfect storm. So if no one knows how value is going to be made, which is actually awesome, because it lets us go ahead and break molds and figure out new ways to go ahead and do this, because no one knows which is there. But the internet will eat itself. The browser wars are going to be back. Comet from Perplexity and AI genetics and AI generative models with agentic browsers who will do everything for you in this is just going to be crazy and awesome.
Fantastic. Okay.
Harry.
And fun. Yeah, scary is fun.
Let's not talk screen time. Gita, what's going on in marketing?
Several things. So we have speed and relevance, we have localization, and we have attention. So now we'll talk about all of them. So who knows, show of hands, the brand Liquid Death? Yeah, who would have ever thought that that would be a competitor for beer? And the reason why, because they're fast, they know how to talk to their consumers, very cultural resonant, and they are risk-taking. And for a lot of global brands who have big matrix organization and shareholders and internal stakeholders, that's really difficult to compete with. So risk and taking risk and being able to take risk and being faster is going to be really important for us as an industry. The second one is localization. I think for all brands, we need to be very close to the local consumers. And specifically here in Asia, I see that a lot. We have a lot of competitors of local brands because they understand the local nuances and the local culture so much better than we can do as a global brand. So for global brands, they really need to build global brands, but with a very hard local soul. And then the third thing is attention. I mean, I'm joined on stage with sports, gaming, music. These are all attention-grabbing mediums. And the consumer has only an attention span of, I think, less than a second. And in that attention span, brands are competing against all of these. So the old model of creating mental and physical availability to reach consumers should be added with attention metrics. And I think only with attention metrics we can continue to build brands.
Fantastic. And you will have had a big sales spike this last weekend in Clark Quay.
I know. I saw the numbers. Thank you.
And I can feel it. So Rebecca, what's happening in the world, in the Web3 world? I mean, obviously there's a lot going on in Singapore this week as well, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's never a dull moment, right?
No, I mean, obviously you have kind of the hardcore DeFi side of things that's progressing in its own way, stable coins and whatnot that have outpaced Visa, and that's all fascinating. I think we're on a bit of a different side. We're on the content side. So I think the big thing that we're noticing is this sort of constant discussion around decentralization versus centralization, and why is that important for content? What is the meaning for content? And I think it comes down to ownership. And when you're talking about content distribution and who you want to be making those decisions about what content gets made and where it gets shown and what are the economics, for entirely too long, IP creators have, sacrificed their rights to their IP, their rights to their fan data, their rights to financial upside in exchange for visibility. But the internet really has the capability to change that distribution model entirely. And that is what we're focused on. So I say IP ownership is probably like the biggest thing. How can you, if you have, for example, fans that have been lifelong fans of a certain IP and they've engaged and invested and now they're co-creating with AI, permission-based of course, how do you give them a share of ownership? How do you give them a sense of ownership in that IP that benefits everyone? So I think that's what we're most focused on, and certainly with Neil, we're developing original IP, walking the walk, having a different economic structure. We just announced a huge partnership with Joe Lubin and Ethereum to get the scale that we need for the distribution that can actually change the economics for good. Because you can have a great platform that gives creators much more rights and theoretically a better split, but if you don't have the distribution and the scale, you can't really change the model. So that's what we're going for. And I think if you have the creators and the people supporting the service that is provided to the network, you can get the scale that you need. So blockchain and crypto, they're two different things. They have the same basis of technology, but there's a DeFi sector, and then there's a sector around real-world assets that's really trying to change the equity model for how people can own partial equity in the things that they follow. And so that's kind of where we're sitting and what we're seeing. And I think Gene actually said something really important earlier too, which is like IP holders are forced now to transcend all different types of media formats. And there's no place that can house all those different media formats coming together because of how fragmented the distribution and licensing system has been. So just a breakdown in that old media model that gives fans and creators more power. And I think you see this with Jimmy Kimmel and all these things, right? It's like, oh, shit. Like, how can these people make these decisions to just pull something off the air? So something that is less susceptible to that kind of interference is what I think people in blockchain are certainly chasing now.
I think the IP ownership thing is obviously right at the heart of everything that's happening this week with here. And I remember, I don't know if he's in the room, Ed Shapiro, very well-known entertainment lawyer. He's here somewhere. But I remember 2021 maybe when NFTs were this big thing and a lot of musicians in the room. And he gave the most insightful advice ever. And I still quote him to this day, where he said, don't do an NFT for the money, but do it for your ability to connect directly with your fans. Yep. And everyone just went, oh yeah. Now I know NFTs aren't necessarily, the world has changed significantly, but it's still fabulous stuff. So we're looking forward to hearing more about what you're up to this week as well. And Calvin, we're gonna start with you again. But what's going on with music? There's a lot going on in the world right now.
Yeah, it's a lot. But I think I best summarize in two points. What matters. Firstly is echoing what you just said. The protection of the copyright is utmost critical for us with the changing technology, and also ensuring all the rights holders are paid in the right manner. I think it's important in the creative industry where the creators continue to grow and to make sure music stays exciting. As alluded by Abang Sapao just now, we love to take risks, but if the ecosystem doesn't allow that to happen, music will become a lot more boring going forward. If I purely, as you pointed out, if you are purely looking at it just purely from an economic perspective, Abang Sapao would probably have a tough time getting a recording contract. But we truly believe in artist development and to invest in an artist over a long time. I think there's a lot of articles about how long does it take for an artist to become what they are. Sabrina Carpenter was signed 6-7 years ago. You know, Chappell Rowan was nobody for 5 years. And I like to think that in 5 years to come, you will have one of the biggest rappers in Asia, in Abang Sapau, which you will all witness it today. So these are the kind of, to make that happen, you need to have a vibrant ecosystem for creators to thrive on and to give them time to develop their art, because you're not looking for an instant viral track sensation. I mean, we love that, but there's always going to be a one-hit wonder back in the days. But we want to focus on artist development, and that's really, really important. I think the second part related to that would be how important technology also has helped the music industry allow music to be consumed all over the world. And last year, Universal had a huge success when our rapper from India, Heineken, has a global hit, you know, and that proves to us the belief that music is truly universal. And we starting to see a lot of success, whether it's the first Malaysian act to have a #1 song in Indonesia for the longest time. Surprise, surprise, it hasn't happened, but it happened this year. And we have a lot of Thai artists doing sellout shows in Summer Sonic in Japan, for example, and doing shows in China. And you wouldn't think that a Thai language artist can do that. So these are all very exciting times for us, where music is no longer dominated by 1 or 2 countries, but it can come from anywhere. So our dreams for Abang Sapau is extremely huge. And we believe artists like that has the potential to go very, very far, not just in Singapore, but outside of Singapore as well.
So I'm going to stay with you, Calvin, and this will be the final question. What matters most to you, and what's exciting for you or for Universal or for the music industry right now?
It's very boring. Just making sure I'm surrounded by good people. I have the best team working for me right now, and I'm excited about music for wellness. Strangely enough, maybe because I'm getting older. But it truly, some of the music, Universal have a program where we're doing a partnership with one of the global partners right now, where it helps you to go to sleep, you know. So we're very excited about it, where pop songs are being used in a way that, with the artist's permission, of course, that helps you to focus, relax, and sleep. So it's very new. But I think it's amazing that music is not just purely to dance, to enjoy ourselves, which is amazing, but to also to create wellness when you listen to music. So that's a totally different dimension that I've never thought that I can, you know, be in that space, but that's exciting.
Fantastic. Rebecca, what's exciting? What's up next?
I mean, I think the idea of fans collaborating directly with IP holders to create, to do world building and create sort of IPs that expand across and transcend, again, like any kind of media format. I think this is the most exciting. Like, you know, I always give the example of, like, if you have a kid, I mean, I have a son and I have invested so much money in Spider-Man, but that franchise has never looked back at me. And so I think, like, the idea that you could have a direct connection with fans as an IP holder and work with them to do, you know, these kind of giant world building exercises and create IP that expands and transcends and has fan fiction and spin-offs, again, with better economics and a piece of equity. Like, this thing that you brought up about artists all over the world is, like, you know, what we see with our own community is that you have these sort of, like, groups pop up all over the world that are massive fans of an IP, and they do the marketing for you, like, at a local level, which is pretty awesome. I mean, that's like a barrier we haven't really been able to break that allows for international distribution and an IP to travel further with less investment. So I think that collaboration of being able to use AI to give fans permission to contribute to a world and building a world, and an IP holder taking that pleasure with fans is great. I think that's where it's headed.
Fantastic. And hopefully with a beer in their hands, Gita, right?
Yeah.
No, but the funny thing is that was exactly what I wanted to say, because I think the next phase of marketing is building communities and having those communities actually do the marketing for your brand. Because these people are so passionate about their brand, about your brand, that they want to give back, and you start co-creating with them. And I think that's going to be the next future of marketing.
Fantastic. Akshat, what's around the corner in the gaming industry?
I think in the next, this is 2020, right? And this is 20 years and 2025. In about 15 years, how we were just talking about, in 2040, how many of you guys know something called Grow a Garden? Like, it's a really simple game. It's made more money for Roblox than Roblox made on its own in everything that they have done. That's how much money Grow a Garden. And it was built by a kid who came up with a crazy idea and this. So I do believe, and I come again from a very strong esports and crowd. We've never seen the game Counter-Strike. It was a mod for a game. The game Dota, it was a mod for a game. The games that last decades will be built by fans. Then they'll be bought over by the big companies, etc. That'll happen. Business happens around it. And the other thing you'll go ahead and see very quickly is this inherent counter digital screen initiative that will happen is, and I'm a firm believer of it, saying pendulums, when they go ahead and swing, where everyone likes digital, the counterpart of digital is physical fan meetups, right? Whether it be Comic-Con, whether it be going out to a stadium, whether it's going out to a barbecue and just sitting down and having fun and a beer. It doesn't matter what you do. The highest level of experiences, the premium experiences, will go physical. But they'll be based on digital camaraderie. They'll be based on communities that were built digitally, around fandom that is built digitally, around, I don't know, K-pop Demon Hunter mashups that'll actually go ahead and have physical concerts, hopefully being done by everyone. So that's going to happen.
Fantastic. So Amanda, final word. I know you're on stage in about an hour or so, so I know you can't give away too much of what you're going to be talking about, but what's exciting? For the industry.
For the industry, okay. Well, I mean, I think I'm a mum as well. We have a 10-year-old boy, and I think what excites me to the industry is just see that he still is as passionate about sport, even more passionate about sport than we are. I think what we'll find is that sport will become more and more immersive in terms of its fandom, and I think that, just as my friends have said today, you'll expect much more, live content in games, whether you have, whether you actually have people in games given, glasses to watch different sort of screen grabs that come onto glasses within games. Those type of things I've seen in studios now that are being developed. And I think we will see a lot more growth in the immersion of online gaming and real sport. So there's been some great partnerships with Saudi. You mentioned, someone mentioned the eSport World Cup. I know it's coming. Saudi have invested hugely into esports, and it's been quite a dramatic move to see that pull over to Asia. So I think there has to, we have to not be complacent and see how we can measure that investment into other things.
Fantastic. Well, it's great. I mean, I've written so many notes, but it's wonderful to hear from you all individually, but to see how many streams are being crossed. I mean, we talked about it's all about the fan, right? Direct consumer, influencers, collaborations, communities. We talked about new screens. We talked about the decentralization and the importance of IP ownership, but also protecting copyright and making sure the artists are paid. It was great to hear that people still matter, because there's a lot going on in the world outside of that, and that wellness matters. Now, the other thing is looking into the future. I meant to say this earlier. Our final session of on Wednesday, we've got 8 teenagers on stage for an Ask Me Anything. Because it's great to listen to all of us talking about the future, but let's find out from them, if they were going to plant a time capsule today that they wanted to unearth in 20 years' time, what would they bury? So hopefully, some really cool stuff is going to be talked about in the next 3 days. But thank you so much to Amanda, to Calvin, to Gita, to Akshat, and to Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining us today.